At 26, I was making nearly six figures, driving a nice car, and living in an apartment with a view that made me feel like I'd finally made it. But every single month, 3 days before payday, my bank account hit zero. I was running on a financial treadmill, moving fast, looking impressive, but going absolutely nowhere. It took me a long time to realize that high earning and wealth building are two entirely different games. Most people play the first one forever. They work harder, get the raise, buy the bigger house, and stay completely broke behind closed doors. I know because I was that guy. Until one Tuesday night, standing in line at a grocery store, my card got declined for a $20 bag of groceries. That was the moment everything broke open. I spent the next year obsessively studying the people who actually built lasting freedom, not just those who looked rich. And I found that it always comes down to just four specific habits. Let me take you back to how I got trapped in the first place. When I turned 26, I got a massive promotion. My salary jumped, and suddenly I felt like I had permission to spend like the adults I used to admire. I got the sleek apartment, started eating out at places where they don't print the prices on the menu, and upgraded my wardrobe to match my new title. From the outside, I was living the modern dream. My friends thought I was crushing it, and honestly, my ego loved every second of it. But every month was a quiet nightmare. I was stressed, constantly checking my banking app, hoping automatic bills wouldn't bounce before my paycheck landed. I thought the solution was simple. I just needed to make more money. If I could just hit six figures, everything would fall into place. But when another bonus hit my account and vanished into thin air within 2 weeks, I realized the terrifying truth. More money doesn't fix a broken leak in your boat. It just fills the boat with more water. That grocery store moment wasn't just embarrassing. It was a wake-up call that completely changed my trajectory. I realized I was spending money I hadn't even earned yet, all to impress people who weren't paying my bills. So I sat down with a blank notebook, pulled up 12 months of bank statements, and spent 6 brutal hours facing reality. That was when I uncovered the 4 habits that separate the high earners who stay stuck on the treadmill from those who actually build wealth. The first habit was something I call the Invisibility Protocol. High earners constantly update their lifestyle the exact second their income increases. They get a $500 raise, so they sign a $500 bigger lease. The wealthy do the complete opposite. When their income goes up, they keep their living expenses totally invisible. They act like the raise never even happened. The extra money automatically gets routed straight into investments before it ever touches their main spending account. When I started doing this, I stopped feeling like I was sacrificing because I never allowed myself to get used to having that extra cash sitting in my checking account in the first place. That leads directly into the second habit, dynamic gap preservation. Most people think wealth is created by how much you make. It isn't. It's created by the size of the gap between what you earn and what you spend, and holding that gap open as wide as possible for as long as possible. High earners let their lifestyle expand to close that gap completely. Wealth builders treat that gap like a sacred boundary. Even as my career kept growing, I made a strict choice to lock my core living expenses at the exact same level they were when I was making half as much. That gap became my freedom engine. The third habit was the most painful one for my pride, but it changed everything. It's the shift from ownership of status to ownership of assets. I used to buy things that depreciated the second I touched them just so people would look at me and think, he's doing well. I had high-end watches, clothes with giant logos, and a car payment that was eating away a third of my take-home pay. Wealthy people don't buy status. They buy income-producing assets that eventually buy their status for them. I sold the expensive car, bought a reliable used one, and took that huge monthly payment and put it directly into broad market index funds. I swapped fake status in the present for real power in the future. And finally, the fourth habit, automated asset deployment. High earners try to save whatever is left over at the end of the month. The problem is, there's never anything left over at the end of the month. Parkinson's law guarantees that your expenses will always rise to meet your income if you leave it to willpower. Wealthy people take human emotion completely out of the equation. On the first of every single month, before I pay rent, before I buy food, before I spend a single dollar on anything else, an automated transfer moves 40% of my income directly into my investment portfolio. I live on whatever remains. If I run out of spending money on the 20th of the month, I don't touch the investments. I just stop going out until the next paycheck. When I started applying these 4 habits, the change wasn't just mental, it was immediate and measurable. Within 18 months, I went from living paycheck to paycheck on a high salary with zero liquid savings to building an automated system that saved and invested $28,000 in a single year. For the first time in my life, I wasn't anxious about the future. I wasn't terrified of losing my job, and I didn't care about looking rich anymore because I was finally becoming financially secure. Building wealth has nothing to do with luck, and it has very little to do with how high your salary is on paper. You can make $200,000 a year and still be one bad month away from absolute ruin if you're playing the status game. Real wealth is the quiet confidence of knowing your money is working for you while you sleep, giving you complete control over your time and your life. It's about making choices today that your future self will thank you for every single morning. If this story resonated with you or helped you reframe the way you look at your own money, please hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more practical strategies like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.